Oh, all right, cool. I'm here with youth coach Ali Syahoui. So let me say again.
Ali Syahoui.
Ali Syahoui, because it's such a hard name to pronounce. You're the Millwall youth coach. You've been coaching for many years now.
Yeah.
So yeah, firstly, great to have you here. And how did you get into coaching? Because you didn't have a playing career, did you? You're still
no, not really. Yeah. So yeah, it's an interesting one actually. Like I came through not as a natural academy coach, or come through like football coaching, or like a natural coach, where it's like, you played at a high level, injuries ruined it, or you didn't get, you got released at 18 or whatever it is. So for me, my journey was a little bit different. So like obviously growing up like as a natural football fan, you love playing football and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I've got a big family. I've got like 11 nieces and I've got 3 nephews.
Yeah.
So, and I've got another niece or nephew on the way. So growing up, I always just kind of like tried to get them into football as well.
Yeah.
And then I found like a local football team, which I used to play for growing up, called Lewisham Youth.
Okay.
And literally local team in my area, I started taking my niece and my nephew there every week before I went work on a Saturday morning. And they saw how well I interacted with the kids, and they were just like, listen, we've got under 8s team starting in September. Do you want to take over? Like, do you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, you know what? I have a crack at it. Like, I've always wanted to do it. Like, always enjoy doing like manager mode on FIFA or like playing FM all the time. So I thought, yeah, you know what? Let me get into it and see how it is. And I just loved it. Like, I've done it for about 6-7 months. And I just absolutely like fell in love with coaching. I thought, you know what? Like, I actually want to take this seriously. Let me see what the process is like. And yeah, the rest is history, man.
Right. So you started that at what age?
I was 20. No, I was like 19, 20.
So that's like 10 years.
Yeah, I've been coaching for about 10 years now. It's been a whirlwind. It's been I've had some crazy years.
So you've got a lot of experience. So how long did it take? So let's say 10 years ago is when you started. How long did it take you to get to Millwall, and how did that happen?
Wow. I mean, the process, the journey to get to Millwall has been a long one. It hasn't been easy. A lot of up and downs. But it's been a good journey. I mean, so I started off at Lewisham Youth, was there like under 8s, done that for like 6 months, and then I started looking into like, like what's the coaching process like, how do you get into certain things. So I done my level 1, and then I started working for a company called Little Kickers, where it's kids from 18 months to 7-year-olds. 18
months?
Yeah, so really, really young. So it's not even really coaching, it's more like, like being enthusiastic and making theme games and stuff like that.
Kind of like a nursery kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. But what it taught me, and something that I've taken on throughout my whole coaching career, is it taught me a lot of patience and to like not take myself too seriously. And what I mean by that is like, sometimes as a coach you overcomplicate things and worry about what parents are thinking or what the players are thinking. But like what it taught me just to be like, it took me out of my comfort zone. I was able just to be silly and be fun and it allowed me to like, it really boosted my confidence and patience as well, which is 2 massive things as a coach. So then like from Little Kickers, that's when I started to really like, at the time I was working full time as a waiter. I hated it.
Right.
But obviously you had to do what
you got to pay the bills, you know what I mean?
Exactly. So, but then I went through I had like a little moment where I'm like, you know what, like I can't do a job I don't like. Or I can't just wake up every morning and like, go to a 9 to 5 and be like, here's work again. Yeah. And obviously certain days are like that naturally as life
in any
is.
job, yeah.
Exactly.
Even in your dream job, you're going to have days where you're like, I can't be bothered.
Exactly. But for me, it was like, it got to a point where I was like, okay, let me look into what actually like coaching's about, and I'm going to make a career of this, I've always been quite an ambitious person. I always do like 100% in anything I do.
Yeah.
So when I started doing that, I started to like do some research, and then I found a degree in football coaching, and it was at the University of South Wales, and it was football coaching, development and administration. But the thing that stood out to me about the degree was that it was an internship, and we got sent to America to coach out there.
Oh wow.
And on top of that, we was able to do a UEFA license, which is like, it's the minimum requirement you need to do to coach at like a good level,
decent level, yeah,
and at minimum academy level. So I was like, okay, let me look into that. And then,
where in the States did they send you?
Oh wow, I coached in 18 different states.
18
wow. Over like the 9-month periods. Oh. But in the spring and in autumn, I was based in Pittsburgh, which is in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
So I was there
for... It's the capital.
Yeah. No, it isn't. I forgot the capital's name actually.
I think it is, because I think a lot of people think Philadelphia is the capital. I'm pretty sure Pittsburgh is the capital.
I think there's another city that is in between both of them. I can't remember what it's called.
Maybe, because I know Philadelphia is in
Yeah, it's in Pennsylvania. It's on the other side.
Oh, I thought Pittsburgh. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe.
Yeah. But I was in Pittsburgh for 6 months, and then during the summer we was in a different city and state every week. But I got mainly sent down the south, so I was in like Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi. Yeah, I done Florida, Louisiana,
Texas.
No, I didn't get to do Texas. That's more that side. So I've done Midwest, more South. I've done Midwest. I've done like Iowa and Kansas City and
Missouri,
Missouri, and Kansas, and a lot of traveling.
Wow. That must have been quite an experience because you were like how old? 20?
Yeah, I was 20. I was 21 when I went out there.
Yeah.
And I turned 22 out there. But yeah, I was out there for that period, and it taught me a lot. You know, not just like how it didn't just help my development as a coach. It helped me like as a person. You know, like it's the small things like learning how to like. It was very character building. You know, like learning how to like live by yourself. You know, I lived with a host family. You know, so like being at your comfort zone. You know, especially in the summer as well. Every week was with a different family. Every week, different city, different state. So it was like, you know, really adapting.
You're definitely out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, massively, man.
Okay, so you're in the States, and then you come back, and then is it the degree still going on, and then?
Yeah, so the degree's still going on, but then so the way the degree works was like, you know, we'll have to go out there for 8 months, come back for 4 months, go back out there for 8 months. We had to obviously come back and do our practical assignments and our uni stuff. And I was still studying at the time, but we had to come back over and go to Wales for 2 weeks, go into Cardiff and do our practical assignments there, and then, you know, sort out the end of the first year, then go back out. But then COVID happened.
Oh God, yeah.
So the pandemic happened, so I wasn't able to go back out to
Put
America.
Everything on pause,
Yeah, but it put everything on pause, but I was still doing my degree at the same time.
Right, yeah, because you can still do the coursework and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. But I always had in mind that I had my UA4B, and that was my. Obviously, the degree is amazing. It's helped me in my career like so far, but the UA4B was my main priority. I have to get this. Like,
so do you think in coaching for people that don't know, is it kind of like, is the experience more important, or is it more kind of like the qualification, or is it a mixture of both?
It all depends on which direction you want to go with your coaching, but I'd say it's definitely a bit of both, because you know you can be coaching for 10, 15 years, and like you can have 20 years under your belt.
Yeah.
But if you don't have certain qualifications and certain licenses, you know, you're not going to be able to coach at, you know, at a higher level. And if that, it all depends on, you know, what you want to achieve. You know, if you want to, you know, be an academy coach like I wanted to, you know, I knew that I had to get my UA4B, had to get the UA4B, and that was the main reason why I done the degree, apart from obviously the experience in America.
So what age of people are you sort of out on teaching mostly now? What's the average?
So right now I'm under 10s assistant coach at Millwall, and I also do the under 8s as well. So pre-academy and main academy as well. So I work with a mixture, but over the 10 years I've done
pretty much all
every age group from, as I said, 18 months all the way up until 70 years old.
Oh, like, really?
I've done walking football. I've done veterans football,
like retirement,
retirement guys. I've done pan disability, whereas I'm working with kids that have, well, it's actually adults at the time. I was like autistic and you know, all across the disability spectrum, which was I loved that a lot. That was so much fun. That was one of those experiences that really, like, you know, puts life into perspective a little bit.
Okay, so what I'm curious, because you're only 29 years old. Did you never have ambitions to be a player?
No, I did. I mean, you know, everyone, you know, growing up playing football, no matter what team you support, wherever it is, whatever walk of life you come from, obviously everyone wants to be a professional footballer, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I came from a household where money wasn't massive in terms of, like, there wasn't much money going around in terms of being able to commit to a team and pay the membership fees and all these things, and having like 2 younger sisters as well. And I also have 4 siblings. I got 2 older sisters too.
Yeah.
But, you know, having 2 younger sisters, you know, it had to take a lot into consideration.
Right.
I grew up a lot just playing, you know, like cage football, football in the streets in front of my house until the street lights come on, and going to goals and power leagues, and obviously playing grassroots as well in certain years too. But yeah, I didn't play. I obviously always wanted to play at a high level, but I never got the and to be fair, I wasn't. Now I'm an academy coach as well. I can be honest with it, but like I wasn't at a level where I could have, like,
I think that's the thing, because obviously football is so competitive, and I think a lot of people don't even realize, even at the elite level, how many players just aren't, not to put it bluntly, not good enough.
It's true.
Because like, I mean, I had a friend called Sam Woods, and he was at Crystal Palace from about age 10,
Yeah.
and he's 26 now. He got released from Palace maybe 3 years ago, or maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Then he played non-league, like sort of for Bromley and Barnet, got promoted, but then he retired last year because he was like injuries and I just wasn't playing enough, and now he's retired sort of thing. And you got to think like some of the best players at some academies do not make it because
it's true.
I mean, there are obviously loads of other factors, but it's so competitive that you got to think of like the best player at Northampton, let's just say.
Yeah.
He's better than a lot of players elsewhere, but he might be the only one that gets through it. And that's just at Northampton. So imagine how much harder it is at Chelsea and Liverpool and Man United.
It's insane, honestly. Like the numbers of like the amount of players they have at those type of clubs as well, like the Chelseas, the Arsenals, the Cat 1 academies. They have such an amount of players, and it is very, very. It's not an easy sport to break through, man.
Yeah. Because I read somewhere that from age 9, children, like young players in academy, something like only 2% will make it through. So it's like I think it's 1 in 200 players will make it through. Do you think that is a problem, or it's just survival of the fittest? What do you think?
I'd say it's a bit of both. Survival of the fittest, because obviously it sounds bad, but it is what it is. You know, the football industry is it's the biggest sport in the country. It's the biggest sport in the world.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, especially when you come from this country where, you know, the academy level is fantastic. It's the best academy setup in the world in terms of like the games fixtures, you know, how players are able to like develop and produce and stuff like that, and the level of competition as well. But you know, it just comes down to, sometimes it comes down to luck, you know, a lot of
injuries, timing.
Yeah, exactly, injuries.
Like you said, finances come into it a lot.
Like, even before I got into academy coaching, I've come up, like, you know, friends growing up have been in academies and been on that border where, you know, they might make it pro, but career ending injury.
Yeah.
Or, you know, luck hasn't gone their way, or there's a lot of factors that go into it. It is quite interesting, to be fair.
Because I think from the outside looking in, it's just, well, a lot of the time is you do just need a bit of luck, but you do need to kind of be like the cream will always rise to the crop. Yeah. But obviously there are examples of players that didn't make it. They might have slipped through the cracks. I mean, like there are so many examples, like Semenyo, for example. Look at him.
Semenyo.
Like 3-4 years ago, he was playing like level 5 or 6. Like
he was playing step 5.
Yeah, step 5. Yeah. And it's just like, wow. Like, I mean, if things had gone differently, he wouldn't be playing for Manchester City. Yeah. And it's like, I didn't even realise this until the start of the season when he was still at Bournemouth. I thought, because you know he's a Ghanaian international. Yeah. I thought he was like born in Ghana. He's from London. Like,
literally.
I didn't realise, and it's just like maybe if he had not been rejected by so many clubs, maybe he'd be an England international. So it's funny how things work.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, but you know, that reminds me. I was going to ask you this actually, because you said you're born here, right?
Yeah. And
your parents are born here, or your grandparents are born?
So my mum was born here. My dad came over in late 80s. My mum's parents, they came over Windrush, like Jamaican.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then my dad's parents, they stayed in Algeria.
Yeah, so your father was born in Algeria.
Yeah, so my dad was born in Algeria. Mum was born here, but my grandparents were born in Jamaica.
Okay, yeah, because I always think it's interesting, because if you were a professional footballer and you were at the highest level and you had the opportunity, which national team would you represent and why? Because you have options.
It's a good question, you know. I've always thought this as well, like growing up too. I think for me, I'd represent Algeria, you know.
Okay. Why?
I think the reason, it would be between Algeria and Jamaica. It would be very, very tight between the two. But I think Algeria, and the reason why, like, I've been there a few times. I've been there like 3-4 times growing up. Haven't been there like the last 10-11 years. It's been a minute. But I just have and I think it comes down to what you're saying, like about Semenyo and opportunities and stuff. I feel like if you look at players now, you know, in the England team, for example, there's a lot of talent that's there that can't get into that team because the England team's so good. But if a lot of them played for their, you know, where their
country of origin,
country of origin, like, you know, you get more minutes, you know, you'll be playing in bigger competitions, you get more time,
more exposure.
But, exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting because my take on it is, this is what I think, and I think not just for me, and I think it's for everybody else. Not the rule, but I think you should play for whichever country you feel most represented by.
Yeah, 100%.
For me, it shouldn't be, I might get more minutes here, I might not get more minutes here. For me, it's like, listen, this is my country and I'm proud to represent them. I didn't like, for example, you know, Declan Rice and Jack Grealish got a lot of stick because they represented Ireland at international at the youth level. But at the end of the day, their parents are from England. They grew up in London and Birmingham. They're for me, they're as Irish as Michael Essien. Do you know what I mean?
It's true.
but I have no problem. I have no problem with players like, for example, Alexander Iwobi. He did. I mean, I think he played a few games for England.
He did at like academy level. Like,
no, but I think he played a few games for the first team when Roy Hodgson was manager. I might be wrong.
I think you're right. You know,
but only friendlies. But he wants to play for Nigeria. I'm sure there's reasons come into it that he could play at AFCON, he could go to a World Cup. But he probably, if you ask him, honestly, he probably feels more Nigerian than he is English.
Yeah, and it's true. And I think as well, I think it comes down to like how you, as you say, how you feel most represented as well. Like, for example, for me, as I said, like I'm the only boy. So my two younger sisters are both married. So it's like, I'm the only one that can continue my last name.
Yeah.
And that's important to me.
Me too.
So it's, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's another thing. Like, if I was a professional footballer, you know, having the name, like my family's name, come from Algeria at the back of my shirt, like, you know, that's an Algerian origin name. Like, so it's like, for me, that's what
right. So you would represent Algeria, you think?
Yeah, I think so.
See, that's where I'm different. I think I know I would represent England because I would have options of. Well, actually, I've even got the option of Spain because my mum's dad is Spanish.
Okay.
But the way I see it is, I don't feel Spanish at all. I've been on holiday there, but if I go there, I'm a foreigner. I feel more connected to Jamaica and Trinidad, but at the end of the day, they're two countries I've been to once. England and London is where I've grown up, and I feel English, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here pretending I'm as English as some people, but I don't know, like when England play, like I'm invested in their games. You know what I mean? Like I stayed up till 2 a.m. to watch England versus Congo, the World Cup qualifier the other day.
Really?
Yeah, because I thought, wow, we could get. Do you know what I mean? We could get to the World Cup. England haven't been to the World. Sorry, Jamaica haven't been to the World Cup since '98.
Oh, you just want a Jamaica and Congo game?
Yes. Yeah. And I stayed up till 2 a.m. to watch it because I want Jamaica to do well. But like, if I had to pick, even if England were the worst team in the world, I would still play for them because that's my country kind of thing. But I get it. Listen, there's not one right answer, but I just hate that sometimes I feel like international football is turning into sanctioned club football. Like the worst example is Diego Costa. The guy's a Brazilian.
Oh yeah, that one's
the guy's a Brazilian. Like he's a full Brazilian. He speaks Portuguese as his first language. He spent 5 years playing in Spain he played for Atletico, but I think he played for either Getafe or someone else beforehand. But because he had been there for about 5 years, he got Spanish citizenship, and he went to the World Cup because Brazil didn't pick him. But he's not Spanish. Do you know what I mean? If I move to China and play there for 5 years, I'm not Chinese.
Yeah, no, it's true.
So I don't like that players can sort of go, well, this country doesn't want me, so I'll play for this country through a loophole. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get you. There should definitely be a little bit more control around like how players, where they can go and stuff. No, I agree.
I don't know. It's an interesting one because I feel like and listen, I have no problem with players like, I mean, listen, your parents are born here, you're born there. I kind of like that. Maybe it should be cut off at grandparents. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
I think there should definitely there should be a certain generation cut off. Whereas like, if it's your great grandparents, then I don't think.
Yeah, great. I don't think you can. I think you have to be eligible through your grandparents.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind certain examples. You'll get players like, I think in Ireland, if you're born in Northern Ireland, you can choose either side. You can choose the Republic or you can choose Northern Ireland.
Okay.
Like what's the right back for Liverpool called? The Irish one. He's a good player, and he's been injured since like Christmas. Forgotten his name.
That's your team as well, man.
I know. It's because he's been injured for so long, and Trent's been gone for so long. I can't. I feel like we're changing right back all the time because Frimpong was injured at the start of the season. It will come back to me, but anyway, he's the captain of Northern Ireland, but he's a Catholic.
Yeah.
So he's actually more. If you ask him, he'll say he's Irish, not Northern Irish. But he chose them because he's like, I don't really care about politics and religion, so he chose them. But I mean, there's not one right answer. It's whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting topic.
It's an interesting topic.
Sure,
okay, so actually, who do you think is going to win the World Cup then?
World Cup. You know what? Yeah, I don't want to go with the obvious one and say, it's France. Like,
well, they're not actually the favourites though.
No, I know they're not. But
surprisingly, I think they're going to win it.
Yeah, individually, as like from the front to the back, I feel like they have the best talent
on paper. Yeah,
on paper. So I feel like they're always everyone's favorite, especially like getting into the last World Cup final. Won it the 4 years before that. Like this is their golden era.
Yeah, I feel like the last 10 years are kind of enough for them. Yeah,
but I do feel like I don't think they'll get across the line. You know what? I'm not sure who's going to win the World Cup this year. I think England have a great chance.
Do you know what?
I think England have a great chance of winning it. But I think one thing that might come into play and might bite the English players is the amount of minutes they've been playing this season.
Yeah,
and I didn't even realise. I was just looking at it literally on the way here. Like, this season ends, what?
In like 3 weeks?
3 weeks, then you got, you know, all the finals, the Champions League final, Europa League, whatever it is. And then there's like a week or two break. And then bang, World Cup.
Friendlies, yeah.
Yeah, like a couple friendlies, international friendlies, and then bang, World Cup straight in. And it's like, how you can't expect the players to be able to maintain a level of consistent, like, entertaining football.
Yeah.
When, you know,
I agree.
so much minutes.
Because do you know what? Like, I mean, you're not an England fan. You support Algeria, I'm guessing.
Yeah, no. I mean, when it comes to the World Cup, I support England as well.
Yeah.
But again, funny enough, so I'll pull it back a little bit.
Yeah,
again,
go on.
2010 World Cup,
South
right?
Africa, yep.
Year 10. You know,
It was in year 10.
Yeah.
No, we would have been in year 8. I remember this.
No, 2010 would have been like year 9 going into year 10.
Oh, sorry. What year are you born? 95.
I'm 96.
Yeah, same. Yeah, because
when's your birthday?
November 96.
Oh, see, I'm August, so
you would have been year 9. That's when that World Cup was.
Yeah, so year 9 going into year 10. You know, like, you know, it's the best ever. You know, going into your teacher's room and they're showing on the World Cup and whatnot.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like, I had, obviously, England was in the World Cup, Algeria's in the World Cup. They're both in the same group that year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Algeria and
yes,
England
I remember
in the
this.
same group. There's a small percentage of us that are Algerian in my year, and in fact, the whole school anyway. Obviously, that kind of gave me not a chip on my shoulder, but everyone's like, oh, we're going to destroy Algeria, we're going to smash you guys. And them times I started making a transition where I started watching like AFCON more and watching African football and started to support Algeria and the Algerian players a little bit more.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, no, Algeria are going to do something. From then, I always was like, no, I'm going to support Algeria.
Yeah, I like
so
that.
It's like, so from that World Cup, it was like, that's why I started to like support Algeria. But I've always been not conflicted, but it's like, I'll support Algeria, but I'm also supporting England at the same time. Do you know what I mean? It's a mixture.
I get that, yeah, because I feel like, I mean, you can't help who you kind of support. And do you know what I've always thought as well? Like, I don't know what your position is. I think it's a bit different when you're in London, but I always think everyone should support their local team.
Yeah.
And it's a bit different when you're in London, because in London, if let's just say you're from you're from Croydon, but you're an Arsenal fan, I think that's fine because it's all the same city. But I feel like you do miss out if you're let's just say you're from, I don't know, Lewisham, you're from South East London, but you support Man United.
Yeah.
You miss out because you don't get to go to the games. You're not connected to the city in any way.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Liverpool fan from London, and not that I regret supporting Liverpool because I love Liverpool, but if I go back in time,
you don't get the same experience.
Yeah, you don't. You don't have the same.
I get what you're saying, and it's always like something you banter like as an Arsenal fan, there's banter a lot of my United fans.
Yeah.
Because of that, and I know you're not wrong because, like, for example, like, God willing, Arsenal do the double this year and win the Prem and the Champs, right?
Yeah.
And if we do, as an Arsenal fan in London, London is going to be crazy this whole summer.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know, like, as you said, if you support Liverpool, Man United, or any of the clubs outside of London, especially if you go like 3-4 hours out of London, it's like you've then got to, you know, book a hotel. If it's a parade, you know, you got to go book a hotel. You got to get travel up there. You got to think of all of these things. Where for me, you know, I get the tube. I'll go and get the tube to North London.
It's not the same, is
celebrate and then go back home. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, and that's why I kind of was going back to the point with international football and players declaring who they're going to play for.
Yeah.
If for example, for one random reason, I said, "Oh, I'm from England, but I support Brazil." If Brazil win the World Cup, it's like not the same. If England won the World Cup, it's like, wow, the whole country's together. Do you know what I mean? It's not
literally.
It's kind of the same. So I kind of think. I mean, listen, no judgment to whoever anyone supports, but I just can't recommend people enough to support their local team or a team where they can go and watch them regularly because
I
have a
agree,
connection.
To be fair, and I think it's okay to again support a team outside, but as you said, it is important to like be tapped into your local team.
Yeah.
Like for me, like I live like in and around the Bromley area. You know, I was lucky enough to work for the club as well.
Oh yeah, I've been to quite a lot of Bromley games.
Yeah, like I was lucky enough to work for the club during lockdown. Like I emailed them and stuff because I said I knew I had my UFB and I emailed loads of local clubs and Bromley was the only ones that kind of got back to me. And it was funny because in the past I was always like, when Arsenal was going through the period of like they were rubbish, I was always like, I'm gonna go support Bromley. You know, I'm a local club. Like Arsenal gave me too much stress. But like, for example, Bromley just got promoted to League One.
I know,
they won the league,
back-to-back promotion.
Yeah, like I was there when they beat Wrexham and the FA Vase Trophy
Yeah.
at Wembley.
Yeah.
I went to the game when the playoff game to get to League Two.
Yeah, was that the one against Solihull?
Yes,
I was there as well.
Yeah, that was absolute scenes, and
that
like
was crazy.
Same thing as you said, like going to that state, going to Wembley and looking around. And for me, I mean, I saw players that I coach, parents that I know,
Yeah.
but also people that I've grown up with in the area that you see going to the shop on the weekend, and you're at Wembley together celebrating your local team getting promoted.
Yeah,
so
yeah. It's like I was watching a video yesterday on YouTube about how Leicester sort of went from being Premier League to now they're in League One.
Yeah.
But could you imagine, as a Leicester fan, you still wouldn't trade that? Imagine you're Leicester fan from Leicester. You've seen your team win it all. You've won the Premier League. You've been in the Champions League a couple of times.
Yeah. FA Cup.
Win the FA Cup.
Yeah.
You've gone down to the Premier League. Sorry, the Championship. Come back up, gone down, and then gone down to League One again.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't trade that to be, say, a Man United supporter in Leicester watching it on Sky.
Yeah. It's true, and it's funny you say that and it's so funny you brought up Leicester specifically because last weekend with the under-8s we had a tournament up at Manchester United.
Right.
We won as well, but obviously it's a long journey to get up to Manchester, and we've started the journey from early, and we've stopped at a service station. And at this service station, it's the last day of the championship as well. So there is fans everywhere. There was Blackburn fans, Leicester fans, like there was Southampton fans. There were so many different type of fans there. And I was in the line in Pret, just getting like a coffee, and a Leicester fan saw me and he's standing in front of me, and it's obviously he saw me that I was in Millwall and whatnot.
Yeah. And
we're talking about, if Millwall win today and Ipswich lose, they get automatic promotion to the Premier League and whatnot. And I'm like, what team you support? And he's like, Leicester. And I'm like, it's been a difficult season for you. And he's like, you know what? I just literally, everything you just said, he said. He's like, you know what? We just got back-to-back relegations. We're going League One. I'm literally about to go and watch them away now.
Yeah.
That's where him and his family were going. But he's like, you know what? The last 10 years, I've seen my team win the Premier League, the FA Cup. We've had moments that we only dreamed of. And we're content. We're happy. It is what it is. We're still going to support our team through thick and thin. And
exactly. That's how it should be. And that's how it should be. Because you just don't know. Because if everyone just supported the winners, everyone would just support Real Madrid. And that's what makes football great. Could you imagine, even in 2004, Greece won the Euros?
Yeah.
That's unheard of when you think England haven't won a tournament for 60 years with all the talent that we've had. It's just crazy. But yeah, going back to what you said about the minutes, because I look at some players I was thinking this the other day, because I think Harry Kane is the best striker in the world. I've been saying this for about at least 5 years.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit worried looking at the World Cup, because I look at all of our sort of attacking players. Apart from him, nobody's in form. Bellingham's had injuries. Yeah. Palmer's been completely off the boil. Who else have we got that's attacking? I mean, Gordon's been
Saka's
okay.
Been injured pretty much the whole season, on and off.
Yeah, Morgan Rogers has been, he's young. He's been up and down.
Yeah, naturally.
But what I find so interesting is that what you said about the minutes, what I find really interesting, if you remember, cast your mind back to 10, 15 years ago, 2010 World Cup, England didn't have one player under 23 years old.
Yeah.
Theo Walcott was one of the, at the time, in my opinion, one of the most dangerous players that we had. He didn't even go. He was because he went when he was 16. You fast forward 4 years later when he's 20, didn't even get called up to the squad. And you got to think, we didn't have one player under the age of 23. And the debate at the time, 15, 16 years ago, was young players aren't getting any minutes, English players aren't playing, this and that. Whereas now, I feel like there's so many English players everywhere.
Yeah.
But now they're almost playing too much. And I'm just like, what is going on? It's just I don't know what the answer is. I feel like there's not a middle ground, because we're talking about Palmer. I think he's a world-class player, but he's only 22. Yeah, he's young. He's a young man.
It's true. Even Saka, he's 24 years old and he's played over 200 games.
Which is crazy.
It's insane, and I think it goes. I wouldn't say it's political a little bit, but it is, because the reason why Premier League specifically there's so much minutes is because it's the most lucrative league in the world. Right. The broadcasting deals are insane, and that's their main priority, and
the stakes are high.
Exactly. And for example, obviously Arsenal have got into the Champions League final, but it's I saw a stat over the weekend, for example, when all the PSGs and the Real Madrids and all these the European clubs, the Bayern Munichs, when all these guys have big semi-finals or quarter-finals to focus on, their league will give them a break on a weekend. They have the chance to rest all their players, because again, maybe their leagues aren't as competitive, but also they get the winter breaks, for example.
That's true.
I saw another stat. Calafiori, right? Yes. As an Arsenal fan, Arsenal fans out there will also know this season he has been injured up and down. He hasn't played.
And he's kind of been injured since he's got there, to be honest.
That's my
he's
point.
a very good player, but he's out quite a lot.
Exactly, and him alone he's played more minutes than Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, most of the PSG's team, and he's been injured for most of the season, and that just shows you the difference, and that's why you see a lot of the like.
But I do think you have a point though that because their leagues are so uncompetitive.
Yeah.
Firstly, their leagues are uncompetitive, and two, like I don't want I like the traditions that we have. I love the FA Cup. I love the League Cup.
Yeah.
I love that because to be honest, you couldn't pay me to watch French football. I just couldn't care less. Why would I want to watch PSG beat FC Lorient 7-0? What's fun about that?
The only game you lock in for is like the
I don't ever watch
games.
Yeah, not even then. I'm never going to sit down and watch PSG, Monaco, or Montpellier, or Lille, or Marseille because they're just rubbish. Like you got to think like last year PSG won the Champions League, and then the Europa League. Who won the Europa League last year?
Tottenham.
Tottenham won the Europa League. Who were they're 18th in the Premier League.
Yeah,
and you got. Chelsea win the Conference League with ease, to be honest.
Yeah,
and the other English team in the thing was Man United in the Europa League final.
Yeah,
like if you take the second best French team and put them in the Premier League, or Spanish, or maybe not Spain because they got Barcelona and Real Madrid, but if you take the next best of their leagues, they've not. I don't even think they're cracking like Europa spots because they're just not good enough.
True. Yeah, 100%.
The reason why we love the Premier League as fans is because it is so competitive.
Yeah,
I mean, even like those years where. I mean, you'll know as an Arsenal fan yourself, like, even when it was just Man United or just Arsenal, it was those two going at the top, or Man United were there, or the top four was like, do you remember like 15 years ago, 20 years ago, where the top four was Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United?
Yeah.
Top two, like 4 elite teams, whereas like, I can't ever think of a French, German, or another time where you would have been like, oh, well, this year you've got Bayern Munich, Dortmund, and Hamburg all vying for the league at a high level. Like it just doesn't happen.
It's true. I mean? The 1 year that happened was when Bayer Leverkusen went the whole season unbeaten.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's I don't want to say a fluke, but a complete anomaly.
No, it's true. Yeah. It wasn't a fluke. Obviously, they done.
They won. They deserve to win.
Yeah, but as you can see, the previous. I mean, obviously they lost a lot of their best players, but like, that hasn't happened since. It's now crazy. Bayern Munich or even Dortmund haven't been great recently.
Exactly.
It's like just Bayern Munich that's winning it.
I don't know if you've been following the Scottish.
Yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable.
Another example, Hearts, isn't it? Hearts are doing well.
Hearts are top of the league.
Yeah, and I think they're like 3 points clear as well.
Which is quick. They beat Rangers the other day.
Yeah.
And what's insane is like the last time that anybody won the league was when Alex Ferguson won it with Aberdeen. The last time that was
in 1980 something.
Yeah, because he joined United in '86. So I'm assuming it would have been '86, and he won the UEFA Cup Winners' Cup with Aberdeen.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show you like. I don't want to ever watch Scottish football because it's so uncompetitive.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
True.
And why would I want to watch French football? And it's just like, well, what's the point? But then, anyway, going back to the national teams, though, I kind of think that as well. But then it's like, look at a country like Brazil or France or Argentina. All of their best players play. A lot of them play in England anyway.
Yeah.
So they're still going through the same kind of schedules that we are. So I don't really know how it affects them.
But I think the balance where it gets, I think, a little bit easier for them is that not all of their players are playing in the top divisions in Europe. Well, no, I mean like in England.
In England, yeah, of course.
The other ones they're getting 2-3 weeks in like break. They're getting their breaks. Their leagues are wrapped up with like 10 games to go. So when they get to the business end of the season where it's the big competitions, they can rest players.
So what would you be your kind of solution? Because realistically, we're not going to say take out teams of the league. What do you think it would be?
I think they need to figure out something in terms of like whether they put in like a little winter break after the December, because the December schedule is always quite big, isn't it? It's quite massive, like that 2 weeks towards the end of the year, where it's like the players are playing games like every 3 days. So I think they need to, but it won't happen. Yeah, and it won't happen because there's too much money in Premier League football, and that's what they're concerned about. Is the money.
And also as well, but then even if we do that, I feel like we're just delaying it. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're still going to have to play those games. You know what I mean?
True.
Because the FA Cup will still be there. I mean, I know they got rid of. Did they get rid of replays? I'm not sure if they got. I think they did get rid of replays now. It should go straight to extra time, which is good. But I just sort of feel like, let's just say you've got 6 games in 10 games in January, but then you push those games back to March. You still have to play extra games. You know what I mean? So,
but you know what? I think it also goes back to the point you made earlier about. The age of players coming through is dropping every year. you know, and I think that's the reason why, because teams are playing so much minutes and players are getting injured. You know, teams are gonna have to start looking to their academies, and I think the reason why it's changed as well is because, you know, there's now laws involved where, you know, you got to have 5 homegrown players in your squad minimum, and I think it's amazing because now you're starting to see a lot more talent come through as well. I know I don't want to speak about obviously like Max Diamond, because obviously he's just one of the main ones, but it's like, you know, you got him coming through.
Rio and Gamal.
Exactly. You got I know obviously Chelsea aren't doing great. But what's that guy's name on the right?
They got too many players. I can't keep up with Chelsea. They've got like 100 players.
Berry.
Oh, the one that had the head injury on.
Yeah,
on
the one that
Monday.
had the concussion against the Nottingham Forest. Like, he's another one. He's young. There's a lot of young players coming through.
Yeah. Do you know what I think is interesting as well? Because obviously you can answer this firsthand. Do you really think it makes a difference, the sort of quality of facilities, the quality of the academy essentially, and the then players that they'll produce? You know, because, you know, say Chelsea and Man United and Liverpool, they've got the state-of-the-art facilities.
I've been to all.
Do you think it makes a difference?
You know, it's a funny one. I mean, because I've been like blessed enough to be able to go to all these facilities. Like, I was up at Liverpool's ground like a month ago.
Yeah.
I was at Man United and Man City's one in a few weeks time. I've been to Cobham, like throughout the whole season.
Cobham's great, yeah.
Beautiful. I've had a few chances to go to all the amazing facilities, and don't get me wrong, it does help their academies attract like better players, but it also comes down to, you know, the money they have. That's the massive factor, is the amount that clubs are able to pump into their academies. Do
you think it makes a difference though, having more money into your academy?
Yeah, massive difference, because, like, you know, for example, at Millwall, you know, we don't have the greatest facilities, but we value, you know, we don't have, like, for example, the Cat Ones, like, they will have 3 times the numbers we do in terms of players. But, you know, for example, at Millwall, players are going to be able to develop at a better standard, and that, because, you know, us as coaches, you know, there's less players to worry about. You don't have 35 players in your squad. You have 12 or 13.
So you're more hands-on.
Exactly, more hands-on. You're more really be able to, like, really dive into their development and helping them, you know, develop as players. And there's more chance of players to play a year up or 2 years up, or whatever the opportunity arises for them.
And you can give them more attention.
Exactly. And for me, that means more than to be at a top-class facility. You know, because
I agree, because the way I see it, I mean, you're there every day, but the way I see it is, okay, you've got the state-of-the-art facilities and this and that, but if this guy's a better player and I'm a better coach, at the end of the day, it's kind of the bread and butter. Like, if you look at, say, England's teams in the last, say, 10 years, with all the teams that we've taken to the tournaments, our best players, hardly any of them come from elite clubs.
Yeah.
Look at our team now, like Bellingham from Birmingham, Pickford from Sunderland.
To be fair, these are all Category 1 academies, though.
But
all good academies.
Yeah, but they're not. What I'm trying to say is that a lot of our top players are not from. Most of them are not from Man United.
I get what you're saying.
They're not from Liverpool.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. In that sense.
They're from players, like, even look at Jordan Henderson. Like, he came in through Sunderland and he's still playing for England now.
Yeah.
Like John Stones, Barnsley. Like, we've got a lot of players from the sort of you know, not the elite. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I sometimes wonder, does it make a difference?
No, it does, and you know, like, for example, with the under 8s, I do help on the side of, like, recruitment as well. And you get chatting to a lot of parents, and even, like, in the under 10s, when they went through the pre-academy route, because that's where it comes from. The pre-academy route is where, you know, players start going on trials at loads of different clubs. You know, they will go to the big clubs, they go to the Cat 1s, the Cat 2s, the Cat 3s. They will see what everything's like, you know, do loads of trials. And when we have players come to Millwall, you know, a lot of the parents, the main thing they say is, like, wow, like, you guys it's a family environment. You know, you treat the players as, like, they are a player, you know, but they're also a person too. We care about what's happening off the pitch. Yeah. You know, we really get to know each player, and we pay really, and you know, we're approachable. Parents can come and speak to us. You know, at the big clubs, yeah, you might walk in and the facility is amazing, and you got the ice baths, and you got analysis teams for under 9s and under 10s.
It's too much, isn't it?
It's a lot, and you know, and I think
it can be intimidating. I think
it can, and I think it also adds to the players' ego as well. And what a lot of parents say is, like, you know, they go to the Chelseas the facilities are great, and yes, they do have good coaches, and, you know, players might get, you know, certain players might develop better in those environments. But a lot of the case, parents like it when, you know, the facilities aren't great, aren't like top of the art, top range, but at the end of the day, you know, your players come in and they're getting development, you know, the coach is we're really focusing on individuals. You know, we don't have 35 players.
They're not just a number on a sheet.
Exactly, and that's what a lot of parents come to us and say. You know, we went to, I don't want to disrespect any clubs, but like, you know, we went to the Crystal Palace, or we went to the Chelseas or the Arsenals, and whatever it is, and it's like my son was a number,
and players can get lost in the cracks.
Exactly, my son's just a number, like,
and I get it, because obviously I do understand it from the club's perspective as well, because at the end of the day, they're there to do a job and they're there to produce as many top players as they can. But at the same time, it's like, this is, at the end of the day, is about coaching. And like, I was reading somewhere, I don't know if it's only Category A clubs, but apparently now clubs have to have, psychologists there for these young players and stuff. Because obviously, I mean, I'm trying to think, like, I mean, I've never been good enough to play football at like academy level or anything like that. But I kind of think, if I was a kid and you have the pressure of like, well, this could change my family's life. I mean, this could, I could be a footballer. There's money involved. A lot of players must feel pressure, like, wow, I've got to perform, and I'm like still a kid essentially.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why certain clubs have gotten psychologists, because it is important, I think, to like be able to like ground them as well. Because as you said, like the best players, like at their age groups, no matter what club they're playing for, they're getting offers from other clubs.
Yeah.
Other clubs are trying to pay out not their contract, but compensate the academy that they're playing for, so they can sign for another club. You get players at 12, 14 getting deals, or getting told, when you get to 16, you're going to be on this contract or this scholarship. And you said it can be like
distracting.
And then how do you also, how do you then become a normal human? How do you be able to, how are you able to, develop as a human being?
Because at the end of the day, you're still growing up. Like, you're still a kid at the end of the day, and you're still trying to develop into like a young man.
Yeah, you're still trying to figure out who you are. And it's like you're getting told, you could be the next Saka, you can be the next Max Dowman or the next Jude Bellingham. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, as you said, how
do you deal with that?
Exactly. So I think it is important when clubs have that, and clubs really focus on, like making sure they're doing well in school.
Yeah, I think that's
education's important thing as well.
I saw a couple of years ago when I think it was Trent's last season or second to last season at Liverpool, he set up this thing with Steven Gerrard, and it was for players to have something to do if football doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Do you think that in academies and stuff, that academies are doing enough because to sort of give players something if they can fall back on in football? Because I sort of feel like, a lot of players in these academies who are children, they're sort of going, well, it's make or break. If I don't make this, I don't know what my plan B is.
Yeah. You know what? One thing I can say is that what clubs do really well, they do that. And it's important because, as you said, like the percentage, as you were talking about earlier, from coming from like, from under 8s, whether it's grassroots or academy, up and all the way up until professional, the chances of you being able to make it, it's slim. It's possible. It's very possible, but it is slim. And I think it is important to be like, that's not the end of the journey for you. You can become a journalist. You can do the media side of football. You can go into coaching. You can go into agency. You can be an agent. You can be a referee if you wanted. There's so many different avenues. And what a lot of clubs do, well, I mean, I think it's like compulsory. When kids turn 16 and they're still, they've been given their first year scholar, you have the scholar program 2 years before they get their professional contracts.
Yeah.
And within those 2 years, they're doing sports science, they're doing, like, for example, a few months ago, the under 18s at Millwall were doing their coaching badges and their referee licenses. So they came down and refed our games on a Sunday, our academy games. And also we had them come down and do take on one of the training sessions. And the coaches, like the head of education, will come down and make sure they're all doing it right and whatnot. But those things I think it's really, really important, because even if they do make it, again, a footballer's career is not long.
It's short,
and it's getting shorter and shorter because they're starting younger and younger.
Yeah.
So it's like, we can't, like I was saying this a few years ago, we can't expect like, this generation of players, like, the Sakas, the Cole Palmers, the Fodens, the Jude Bellinghams, all these guys, they're not going to have the same longevity as like the Ronaldo and Messi and all these players have in the past, where they're playing into their late 30s or like even mid 30s. I think a lot of these players are going to be retiring early 30s.
Do you think so?
Yeah. One, because of the amount of minutes they're playing and the amount of games they're going to be playing by the time they get to 30, but also the risk of them having an injury where.
Yeah, that's interesting because I've always looked at it like I think because one thing I will give credit to is the facilities and the science being better now.
Oh,
The athletes are just better. Like if you look at all sports, the athletes generally. I mean, Ronaldo and Messi are kind of just anomalies because they're freak athletes.
Yeah.
But I feel like players are fitter now. They're stronger now. The sports science and recovery is a lot better. Like if you compare football now to like say 20 years ago, players were drinking more. Players had a lot more bad habits.
That's true.
I feel like now you've got players and they're like, well, I know about recovery, I know about science, and I feel like we might have the opposite where careers are going on longer because they can just sustain more. But then at the same time, you're right because they're starting young. I don't know, but
it's definitely interesting. I think you're right though in the sense that the sports science side of things has definitely gotten a lot better, and players do strength and conditioning.
Yeah.
Minimum once a week.
Yeah, they weren't doing that like as much 20
exactly.
Years
so
ago.
They're actually building on like, their core strength. As you said, knowing how to do it themselves as well.
Yeah.
In terms of being able to implement it on their own and whatnot. So I do think players will be. I think we'll see better athletes in terms of stronger, faster players.
Yeah. Endurance. And
more,
stuff.
like athletically better than what we've seen in the past.
But you think players will burn out faster because they're playing more
because
games?
they're playing a lot more football.
Interesting.
A lot more.
So it's interesting then. So do you think that there should be, not obviously I don't believe in caps or whatever because if you're good enough, you're old enough, and the club might need you.
100%.
But do you then think that if it was up to you, you would like to see kind of players not get less opportunities, but play a bit less just so they last a bit longer?
No, because I think it's a catch. It's a weird one because I feel like it's important in terms of for their development. Like for example, if you're like usually like if you're at under 14s in an academy environment, the best players are getting taken from that team, getting played to under 16s because your under 14s isn't competitive enough for you.
Yeah.
You're not developing enough, and I think that's what it comes down to. Like if you're under 18 and you're just tearing it up and it's not competitive at all, it gets to a point where
you're not learning anything.
You're not, and how are you then going to develop and get better as a player? So it's like, and now you're professional. That's your main concern, developing and getting better. So it's like, okay, you have to be put into the first team. You have to go play with the under 21s and under 23s to be able to get that level of development, or go get sent on loan.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you might be ready. Yeah,
exactly. And I think it has to be done for players to be able to, so we can see the players that we're seeing coming through where the talent's getting better and better because. As I say, young players at a younger age are getting more senior chances in senior football. If you're good enough,
you're old enough. Yeah,
yeah. Literally.
Do you teach? Sorry, teach. Keep saying teach. Do you coach women and girls?
So when I started off with my coaching journey, so when I was at Bromley, I was a senior coach in the community. So I've done pan disability, sessions with kids that come from less like backgrounds like myself, like in the areas they live in or grew up in and whatnot. Or I've done something called Man v Fat as well, which was for obese men to lose weight through football.
Oh wow! Okay.
Which was amazing. I had some really fantastic memories from there, but also some sad ones where a guy passed away from a cardiac arrest on the pitch.
Wow!
And that was
dramatic.
Wow. That experience was like will never leave me.
Eye opening, yeah.
Yeah, really, really eye opening. But again, the beautiful thing we do every year, we do a charity game for him to raise money for the Heart Foundation.
That's good. Yeah,
so that's beautiful. Well, going back to what you said, when I was at Bromley, I got to a point where it's like I still felt like I was early on in my coaching career. So I was like, I always want to throw myself at everything and anything. Like whatever they throw at me, I'm doing it.
I'm ready. Yeah.
So I did I done under 12s girls, I done under 14 girls. It was brilliant. I loved it.
Did you find a difference coaching girls, or was it for you the same?
Yeah, massive difference. Massive difference because obviously the women's game now is at a really good.
It's exploded.
It's amazing. Like I've been to a few Arsenal women games. I've been to like a couple Chelsea women games as well. I still try to watch women's football where I can because I like it. It's good. But when I was doing it like 3-4 years ago, like especially at grassroots level and at like Kent youth level and like national level or district level, it wasn't at the standards. But I think that comes down to I don't want to be like sexist or whatever. I'm not being sexist at all, but girls don't don't want to generalize women. They're not into football as much as men. As a men,
you're correct though, but
do you know what I mean? So
it's a generalization, but you're right, because generally speaking, you know, women prefer not football, but like
so
it's got more popular because I think I was going to ask you this anyway, but I think the reason why women's football has got so popular in this country is because England's women's team, it's an event, and they've been so successful.
Exactly.
So girls want to do it more, and one thing I found is, I mean, we're the same age. Like when we were at school, I don't think there might have been like maybe maybe two girls in say my school year that were actually interested in football.
Literally.
But now the girls now
are so much more exposed.
Yeah, and what I think they're starting to do now, what they're starting to realize, I think the best way to grow women's football is they need to advertise it and promote it more to women. I don't know if you watched any of the 2019 Women's World Cup. For example, I love football, but I only watch women's football when it's the World Cup, or I want to support England or whatever. But when it was the 2019 World Cup, it's the first one that I watched, and there was like a big debate going on saying, "Oh, well, people aren't taking it seriously. They're not watching this and that." But I think they should just, focus it more at women, and you'll grow the fan base. Because if you're a young girl and you see England doing well, or whatever, you'll want to watch more. Like when I was a kid, the first time I ever watched football was Euro 2004, and I remember watching Michael Owen and Wayne Rooney and Beckham and Gerrard. I was like, wow.
But again, that comes into it though. Yeah. That's a massive, I was about to say that as well, that's a massive factor. And also like, I also done it's called Emergent Talent Center. I've done that when I worked for Palace for Life.
Yeah.
And what that is like the in-between girls' academy football and when they're just like getting there. And a lot of the girls that I coached in those teams, they've gone on to like sign for like West Ham, Arsenal, London City Lionesses. So a lot of the girls that I've coached are playing in academy football now as well. But like, for example, as you said, like, it sounds so silly, but people will understand. But it's like, growing up playing FIFA, playing Football Manager. As you said, growing up watching, the Wayne Rooneys, the Van Nistelrooys, the Thierry Henrys, the Dennis Bergkamps, like the players that the reason why you fell in love with football.
Yeah.
As you said, girls didn't have that growing up. So it's like, it's only until now where that's what I'm saying now, like from like under 10s or like even under 14s and 15s, like the obsession with football, the same that women and girls now have the same level as obsession as we do, because now they've got, there's talents out there that they can look at and be like, I want to be like her.
That I want to be. I want to be the next Stanway, or I want to be.
I want to be the next like Alex Scott or like the
Kelly and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Like the Kellys.
It gives them someone to look to, and it's sort of once someone else does it first, it's like, oh, well, it's possible.
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to ask, do you watch any other sports?
Yeah, I do watch a lot of sports actually, and I mean, I think one massive factor that added to that. I mean, I've always been a massive fan of loads of different sports anyway, but when I went to America, that really changed my perspective on like different sports. Like now I love watching NFL. Like if I can, obviously because of work, like it's difficult to like stay up to 3.
Yeah, they're on a difficult times.
Exactly, the time zone makes a big difference. But like I keep up to date with it. Like when all the games will come out, I'll sit there and I'll watch every highlight. I love watching Pittsburgh Steelers. Like Steelers is my team because
that's where you spend time.
Like, that's my team.
I just find the games too long. They go on for hours. Like
they are.
And they're so stop-start. It's just
they are. But you know what? Like I said, for me, because my experience with the sport is different. Like going out there, speaking to college, like Division 1 coaches and Division 2 coaches, like American football coaches.
And college football is big.
It's massive.
Their unis, like I don't know, like Penn State versus Iowa.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's like that's like Celtic Rangers.
Yeah, Penn State Stadium fits 120,000. That sells out every home college game.
But yeah, could you imagine people watching, I don't know, University of Manchester versus University of Essex? It doesn't even make sense to like, our brains.
And I love basketball as well.
Who's your team? Do you have a team?
You know what? I don't, and I'm happy about that because I can watch it. Yeah, I can watch it as a neutral. Like, there's players that I like following, and I have soft spots for certain teams.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I have a soft spot for Toronto Raptors, and the reason why is because when I've always liked basketball, but when I was able to really, watch it on the time zone that it's on, like in America, watching it at 7, 8 o'clock, being able to watch it at good times, like the playoffs was then, and like that's when the Raptors won it when Kawhi Leonard went crazy.
Yeah.
And like that whole playoff was unbelievable. And for example, I've spent a lot of time in Boston as well, because the family that I stayed with in Pittsburgh.
Is that the Celtics team?
Yeah, Boston Celtics. Like, for example, the family that I stayed with in Pittsburgh, they are my second family now.
Yeah.
I stay in contact with them. I was there last year for Christmas. I was the year before for Christmas. I've been out there for their wedding.
Yeah.
Like, they come over and visit me as well.
Yeah,
like, we're family now. So.
And that's their team.
Yeah, because, like, for example, my like, the woman that I stayed with, her name's Nelly. Basically, like, she's my big sister now. Big sister and best friend, pretty much. And she got married a couple of years ago. And the guy that she got married to, his family are from Boston. And they had the wedding in Massachusetts, which is where the state of Boston, right?
Yeah, capital.
So then for me, going through Boston, that was the first basketball stadium I saw.
Yeah.
Well, basketball arena.
They're like one of the most intense fans in the league, aren't
they?
Yeah,
so like for me, being able to like just see like the environment and see what the fans are like and the passion, I kind of like I had a soft spot for.
Yeah, it's funny. I said this year I want to start watching NBA. I still haven't, but I sort of put into AI like who should be my team, and they said Boston. So I started.
Boston. Boston Celtics are good. I mean, they won the championship a couple of years ago.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Yeah, they won it like 3 years ago, I think it was.
It's interesting watching other sports because it's funny. Like the only time I ever watch women's football is when it's the World Cup or the Euros.
Yeah.
But for example, I think I like football as much as I love MMA. I don't know if you've ever watched MMA.
Yeah, I like MMA. I'm a big fan of UFC. Boxing, I love.
I love boxing as well, but I'd say MMA is my number one with football.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I prefer UFC over boxing.
I love both. I love both. I follow both sports a lot.
But
I'll watch. It's weird because I'll watch a women's MMA fight or a women's boxing fight. For me, it's not any different. The only thing I don't like in women's boxing is I don't know if you've noticed the fights. The rounds are 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But in MMA, I love in the UFC that the fights are 5 minutes or 5 rounds.
Yeah.
And it's just like I don't see a gender. I'm just watching.
And the same level of violence you see from the men is the same level of violence you see from the women as well.
Go and watch like Valentina Shevchenko or Amanda Nunes or Zhang Weili. It's just like crazy to watch. It's great. But it's funny actually. I was listening to an interview the other day. It was with a cornerman. I think it was a guy called Dan Hardy. He's like one of the first British UFC fighters ever. Yeah. And he was saying like,
oh no, Dan Hardy.
You know Dan Hardy, yeah. He had like the mohawk. Yeah. He was saying like one of the most important things for being a cornerman and coaching is staying calm. Yeah. So I'm guessing is that kind of the same with football?
Massively. I mean, it's an interesting one because like going through my coaching career, like I was at Bromley. I done Bromley under 16s, and that was like my first introduction into 11-a-side football. Because before that I was only doing like 7-a-side, 9-a-side, and 5-a-side. Yeah. So that was really, really interesting. I mean, I won the league with them in my second year, which was like an amazing achievement. That was really, really good, and a big one for myself. But like that experience of coaching the Bromley under 18s, I only stopped it last year because that's when I joined Millwall, and I couldn't do the both because it clashed. In terms of like sessions and times and whatnot. Yeah, of course. But that experience of the 11-a-side really taught me how to stay calm because there was times where like I won't say overly passionate because I'm a passionate person, you know. I care about the players, I care about the way the game's being played, the result, how I implement my enthusiasm, and that's what it was for me, finding a fine line between being enthusiastic and passionate but also staying calm. Because one experience that really taught me that was it was a heated game. We had to win this game to be able to like not just win the league but like be comfortable in that for our next few games. So it was a massive one. And obviously grassroots football, you get like referees who, you know, aren't the best, you know, they're still in their development themselves or whatever. And there was a situation where like one of my players got like a yellow card, and then the referees then sin-binned him. And I was fuming. I was going crazy on the sideline. Like, I wasn't swearing. Cause I wouldn't swear around, even though they were under 18s. I don't like swearing around kids. Yeah. And they're still kids at that age until they're over 18. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So, like, using every language I could to show my frustration, and like just visibly, you can see I was like fuming. But... And then my captain turned to me under 18s as well, and he's like, calm down a little bit. And from that one line he said to me, I was like, okay, I don't ever want to be in a position where my players are telling me to calm down. That's my job, telling them to calm down, teaching them how to deal with their emotions. So from that experience, I was like, okay, I need to not just learn like as a coach, like in terms of technical and tactical, but also the psychological side for myself. You know, being able to be calm in certain situations, and no matter what the scoreline is or what's happening, because you're a representation of your players, and players look at you. You don't realize sometimes like the little moments, like, you know, if you're angry, sometimes that energy can feed onto your players, and the game can turn left.
Yeah.
And I've had that happen before from not myself, but from opposition coaches going and getting a bit too crazy, and their players start taking on that energy. And games have ended up in fights or whatnot.
And you're right, because the players look to you as an example.
Exactly.
Even if they might not say it, but subconsciously they're like, okay, this is important. We need to be ready. We need to be focused, this and that. And also, if you are acting how you're acting, if you're angry or whatever, you're right, the energy passes on to the players. But at the same time, I don't think there's anything wrong with, you know, because, you know, you're a football fan, you've watched football. We all watch a game, whether you're at home or you're supporting your team, or you're like, do you know what I mean? You get, you're involved in the game, and you're like, I don't think there's anything wrong with being angry, even sometimes losing your temper, but as long as for the most part it's under control.
Exactly. Yeah. It's controlling it.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's nothing wrong with showing your passion,
you want to be passionate.
Frustration. Exactly. You have to show it. It's a part of, you know, you're not going to be a part of the sport if you're not passionate.
Yeah. And how often do you see when you're watching a game, when it's the analysis or you hear the commentary, and whether they're talking about the manager on the touchline or some of the players, and even you as a fan, you're like, their body language is awful. Like, they don't want to be there. Yeah. Like, if I'm a player and a fan, if my manager or my captain is showing he wants to be there, whether it's like a firm tackle or leading by example, it's like, it makes 100%. A massive difference.
Yeah, definitely. Like, and something that I'm big on as well. Like, you know, having all that energy on the sideline, like giving my players that extra 10 or 20% they need, whether it's like, you know, really pushing them to chase down the press, or whenever like we work on obviously triggers, and like, okay, that triggers happen, now we can go press.
What triggers?
Like, it's kind of getting into the tactical side a little bit, but it's like, you know, like for example, if you watch a game, you know, players just don't chase after the ball and press for the fun of it. They work on triggers. Like, they might wait for the goalkeeper to slide the ball to the fullback, and then when the fullback gets the ball, can we go and isolate in that area and set up presses? So it's like, when you work on those things in training and you do it in a match, it's like, now I can push my players, like go, let's go, like, you know, like you're hearing the clapping, you're pushing them, you're being vocal, like little things like that.
It makes a difference.
Yeah,
those little 1%.
Exactly.
I won't keep you too much longer. Okay, so now you're at Millwall, you're 29. Do you have a sort of long-term goal, short-term goal, or are you just thinking, I'm just gonna take each day as it comes, each year as it comes?
It's funny because, like, for me, I've always been an extremely ambitious person from the minute, like, my friends who will probably end up watching this and whatnot, they can vouch for me in terms of like from when I started coaching, I said to them, I'm taking this seriously. Like, I'm trying to take this as far as I can. Like, I'm not just stopping and like at a level where like, I'm content. Like, you know, if I can get to senior level and not just like step football, like I want to get to the point where, you know, I'm a championship manager or a Premier League. Obviously, Premier League is the dream.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's the level that I want to get to.
Yeah, that's the ambition.
And that's the ambition, and that's the goal.
Okay, and what motivates you? Is it, and there's not one or the other here, but what motivates you? Is it, like you said, you know, an achievement, or is you know, financial gain more of a motivation?
I'd say achievement. And the reason why I say that, and I'm not like being a cop out or whatever.
Yeah.
And obviously the money's amazing.
Money's
great.
I mean?
Everybody, multi-millions.
Everybody
like
wants
Premier
money.
League level. Exactly.
We all want money. Like.
Yeah. So the money's fantastic, obviously, but for me, it's like the achievement of getting to that level, and also knowing for me the journey is more important than like the destination. For example, like I love where obviously I have the main goal in sight, but it's like it's the journey getting to that point. And I think also like the weird thing about this country is, although football is the biggest sport and there's so much hundreds of millions and billions in football in this country at obviously the highest level, when it comes to coaching, unless you're not coaching at a super high level, it's very difficult to, like, for example, I'm part-time at Millwall.
Okay.
I'm a PE teacher on the side as well. That's my full-time job, PE teacher, and I do Millwall. And obviously my coaching is my main priority, but it's like, if money was my main focus for like reason why I got into coaching, I wouldn't be doing coaching right now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I can
Because
relate to that,
if I was so money motivated, of course I am. You need money to live.
We all want
Exactly,
money. We all want to make as much money as we
exactly.
can.
We all want to find the things in life. But
Yeah.
if that was my core
desire,
my core driving force, I would have dropped out coaching years ago.
You would've
Because
done,
it's like
recruitment or something.
yeah, because it's like you know, like for example, on a Saturday, when I'm doing these away days, sometimes these are 12, 14 hours. You know, 6 a.m. meet, we're getting back at 7, 8 p.m. We're traveling 4 or 5 hours up and down the country.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like for our games and for that in terms of the under 8s anyway. Under 10s, when you get into academy, it's more, you know, regional.
Spread out,
Yeah, so it's the travelling is not crazy. The furthest we have to travel is like Bristol City or Norwich.
Which is not that far.
Yeah, it's like
But
3.5 hours. It's still a journey.
It's not round the corner.
Yeah, but like you know, like if I was money motivated, those hours I'm putting in, I could be making money elsewhere.
You could be
Do you know
doing
what I mean?
overtime somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like that hasn't always been my main. As I said, I've always been quite an ambitious person from a young age, and I think that just comes down to environment. You know, how I've been brought up, but also how I am as an individual.
Yeah.
So it's always been like I've never done stuff half-hearted. You know, if I do something, I put my mind into it, and it's how I've been you know, it's how I've been growing up from older cousins. You know, like I've got a lot of male older cousins that I look up to, like my brothers. Do you know what I mean? And they're always like a massive driving force in terms of like, you know, if you want it, go and get it. Don't let nothing stop you. Don't watch no one. Just keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your eyes on what you want to achieve, and just keep going. You know.
Yeah.
And not just my cousins, my friends. You know, family members. You know, mum, dad. You know, sisters, whatnot. So it's like I've got a massive driving force where it's like I want to be able to achieve greatness.
Yeah.
That's always been something that's been in the back of my mind. I've always looked at, you know, the greats in whatever sport it is, and it's like, you know, I want to achieve that one day. Like I want to leave a legacy and a history. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great note to end it on.
100%, man.
Ali Syahoui.
It's been an absolute
Thank you,
pleasure,
man.
man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you.